Hello everybody. So another update. First on the list really is the terrible fires in LA, and I've got a couple of emails already because of the presence of burnt cars. This always happens. It happened a lot with the Hawaii, and we've seen the terrible wildfires in California in 2017. In places like Santa Rosa, and I think there was another spate as well elsewhere in California. So, and this again in LA, I mean, it's really awful. I actually have my nephew has been partly affected by this, and his wife has also some of her family have lost their homes. So very terrible. But I want to just mention this video which Steve sent to me this morning. I did watch this through, and it's very interesting. And you can see there, Dr. Judy Wood's book gets a mention. Now, of course, I immediately want to point out that we don't know whether directed energy weapons have been used to toast the cars. I think that's again, we've had this multiple times. We get, um, emails about it and stuff. Don't know. There's some very strange things. This video is good at highlighting some UFOs, drones, strange witness testimony, links to Agenda 2030 and that side of things. Serious questions. The mayor won't answer why she defunded the LA fire brigade, etc. That's all in this video. You can watch that. It's pretty, it's a pretty good video. He's not saying it was definitely this or it was definitely that. He's just showing the anomalies and why we should be asking questions. Now, whether directed energy weapons are involved or not, I don't know, and I'm not going to try and invest too much time in finding out. But what is significant is that people are looking into it and asking questions and finding where did the towers go. We know directed energy weapons were used to destroy the towers, some sort of weapon, and it's very important that people understand that. So, in essence, this event again is showing that people need to look deeper. And indeed, already this week I've sold a few copies of Where Did the Towers Go, probably as a result of this terrible event in LA. So I'll leave that video linked in the descriptions. Again, you might have to access the Odyssey thing because I can't post clickable links in my YouTube videos at the moment, and I don't want to have to upload a video of myself to do it, just to kowtow to YouTube's arrangement. So you might want to go over to the Odyssey channel. So yeah, that's just a couple of words on that. Next on the list, I was sadly informed of the death of Peter Woodhead just before Christmas, although he died earlier in 2024, I think in November. And I'd written an email to him because of what I'm going to show you next. And he sadly passed away in hospital. He'd been ill for a while. I think when I last emailed him, he wasn't in the best of health. It was about a year ago that I last emailed him in January 2024. Now, Peter is significant because he helped very much explain the Earth expansion, or if he's correct, he did, and I think he is. Something like what he said is correct, in that he came up with this idea that when the Earth formed, it wasn't a hot molten core, it was actually a core of ice, and what actually happened was the ice melted over the formation of the Earth, during the formation of the Earth, and then the melting ice then turned to water and then steam and started to power a steam-powered expansion of the Earth. And this is what I wrote about in my book, The Earth But Not As We Know It, and there's a couple of articles which are linked from these videos and stuff. I interviewed Peter in 2014 and 2015, so again, it's hard to believe how quickly time passes sometimes. And yeah, so yeah, I've got links to the articles here and stuff. And why I found this out was I was watching this video by Anton Petrov here, and he was looking at anomalies on the moons of Uranus, yes, the usual jokes as he says here, and it turns out that I think it's Ariel. 4 of Uranus' biggest moons have secret underground oceans, new study suggests. So this is why I picked up on this, because we've seen many of the moons now. I think it's Mimas, Enceladus, Europa, have all been proposed to have underground oceans, very large ones, which is what has also been discovered, according to scientists, in 2007. That's all in my book. So it does look like this model of an ice core, the formation of a planet, which then turns to liquid, might be more widespread than just the Earth. So again, my condolences to Peter's family. Um, and sad to receive this email from his wife, but his work has been, I think will stand the test of time ultimately, and you can read about that here. I will also just highlight this. I found this very nice review that Jessica had written here on this website, Jessica O'Toole, which was written, 3 years ago now, actually, nearly. But that's a lovely review that she'd done there. I'll link that in the description. So, yeah, you can read that at your own leisure, etc. Moving on then, so there's nothing new on here at the minute. Richard, I spoke to Richard a couple of weeks ago now. He is okay. He's working on stuff. We may be putting out something later in the year. I understand he is working on a new video now. I think he's going to post that sometime soon, but I'm not making any promises. He's not making any promises. So you just have to wait and see what's in that. I think he'll be posting that, as I say, sometime in the next month or so, but I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. But he seems okay anyway, which is the main thing. So have a look out for that, and you should get on his updated list if you aren't already. So moving out on then, I've recently come across this Jesse Michaels YouTube channel. I think it just came up in my playlist, and he's doing stuff about UFOs and anti-gravity and in fact consciousness, and he runs this channel called American Alchemy. He said you'll see that in his logo. But I can recommend his videos. Very well produced, lots of good content. And for example, in this video about, I'll perhaps swap these two over here just for the heck of it. This one is all about Thomas Townsend Brown, and it's nearly 2 hours long. Very, very good. There's quite a lot of new information in this, which has come out since I wrote my book, Finding the Secret Space Program. And this is a really good video. He's got lots of good stuff in this, and it's very well produced, so I recommend this as a good watch. Yeah, it's really good. He's got pictures of Brown that I've never seen before. He talks to Thomas Townsend Brown's daughter on the phone, and he talks to this. The other thing which I should mention, I might link this in the description, is Paul.
Pulling the string.
The name. This is another researcher that's written about Brown. Talks about the Caroline group. I'd never heard of this. See the Avro car and stuff. Brings up Wright-Patterson Air Force Base a few times as well. Lots of good stuff in here. And then following up from that, he did an interview with Nick Cook. And again, there's not much new in that really. Nick Cook, again, he's managed to get to see these people face to face, which is good. Jesse Michaels has also done an interview with Jacques Vallée, various other people as well. So again, I recommend his channel. Yeah, I haven't watched this Jacques Vallée one yet. I think I should. Yeah, this is quite old. This Jacques Vallée one actually. I've not seen it, so yeah, I'm gonna watch that soon. Yeah, and then in one of the videos, he brings up this memo from an Australian archive, and it was the head of nuclear research. I forget which branch, scientific and intelligence aspects of the UFO problem. And this is from 1971, and he highlights point 14. This is an Australian intelligence document, declassified. This is on the Black Vault. I'll leave the link for this. And I haven't read the whole thing really, but he draws attention to this, for example, where it says a more astounding decision on the part of the US government was to allocate considerable funds to investigate gravity and a means of controlling gravity. So confirming that they did spend funds on this, despite the fact that science had not attained a level of competence to deal with either gravity or anti-gravity problems, and the only theory that might be applicable was Einstein's unified field theory, which was still incomplete at the time of his death. The US chose to support 6 universities and government agencies in an all-out drive to conquer the problem. It is significant that this time the current theories on UFO propulsion were a mixture of gravity control and electromagnetic propulsion. That's all in my book, and it's more in this documentary by Jesse Michaels, as I say, and the one by
else
with
got
Nick
the
Cook in and stuff. So you can have a look at that at your leisure. Now, again, of course, goes without saying, Jesse Michaels doesn't carry this through to the logical conclusion. He mentions the Hutchison effect. This is mentioned in the Nick Cook one here. But of course, you know what he doesn't mention. I did write to Jesse Michaels and sent him a link to Dr. Judy Wood's book. I did that about just over a week ago, I think, about a week ago. No response as yet. Obviously, we'll see what he comes up with. But at the moment, as most of the UFO figures and speakers seems to be a gatekeeper for certain information. One thing that he did say in one of his videos, Jesse Michaels lives in Laurel Canyon. He seems to have a lot of money. He seems to be I think he must be the son of a wealthy person. He's got a lovely house. He's been all over the world to meet people. And so, yeah, interesting guy. And he's very knowledgeable, very well read, very good interviewer, very good speaker. So he's clearly, I think what he's doing is very good, despite my criticisms that he's not yet, at least, covered 9/11, and I suspect he won't, but we'll see. And back to psychological operations. Obviously, the LA fires is well, I would say you're going to obviously that you expect me to say, and I am saying that it's probably another planned operation in some way. And this is another planned operation. I think the drone events, some of which have been cited over LA as well. This is a very good video by Chase Hughes, who analyzes body language. He's former military, and he's coming out and saying things like, this is all staged. He suggests, that people prepare and stuff, and get food in and stuff. It's a very good video. I think it was Steve that sent me this. So have a watch of this. Good commentary, good analysis about it being a psychological operation, why it's a psychological operation, and just not just about the drones, but any type of thing that's presented to you in the mainstream, why it might be a psyop. He's giving you tips for detecting that. So yeah, do have a look at that. Then the same guy for Chase Hughes, he's called. He has this brain disease. And it's temporal lobe epilepsy. It's a version of that, specific version of that. And this video goes into how he's been looking at getting it treated, and he's been taking psychedelic drugs and infrared therapy, and so forth. He details some of that. So this is also a very good video to watch, and he gets into aspects of consciousness. And he's, for example, had these experiences where he seems to experience a loss of time, feeling outside time and stuff. And I've been writing about that in my consciousness book, as have many other people. So this is an interesting video as well from the same guy. And while we're on the subject of consciousness, then back to Jesse Michaels again, because he's done this video fairly recently, very recently actually, on the research of Dr. Diane Powell here, pictured on the right. And again, he establishes a very good rapport with her in this interview, and he interviews this filmmaker called Kai is her first name, I forget her second name. But they've made this film, or they're making this film rather, about telepathic children. Now, the children that they are talking about are spellers. They don't communicate verbally. They only can spell words out. And what happened was some of these children were being tutored during COVID, and the parents discovered that the children appeared to be psychic, and they were able to sort of read their minds. And in fact, one of the children says to their parent outright, "I can read your thoughts." So they got involved and did these tests, and Kai is making a film about this. There is a series of podcasts about the children here. The Telepathy tapes on Spotify. I haven't listened to all of them, but I have listened to this long video by Jesse Michaels, which is 2 hours long, and he interviews Dr. Diane Powell as well. And I've had to add this to my consciousness book because, again, what seems to have happened here is that these children, they have displayed, they've been essentially been brain injured, and what's then happened is they've developed psychic abilities as a result of brain injury. And that's what appears to have happened. And they are savants as well. So they are savants like Kim Peek, and they can sort of store vast amounts of information and recall it perfectly. But they seem to be telepathic as well, which I hadn't come across this before, that the idea that these autistic children can be telepathic. So again, watch through this, very, very interesting. Here, for example, we see, just to explain this clip, I think this is Diane Powell in the background. She's holding up a card with a number and an operation on it, with her back turned, and this person who doesn't speak, he types out on his little card here what she is actually holding up, and they've repeated this multiple times under different conditions, and you know, this is they can only conclude it's telepathy. But it also goes further than that, because in certain examples of this, the child says that he can see through the mother's eyes. So it's not just, you know, exchanging words or numbers via telepathy. They can actually share senses, and it's like the parent says they have a shared consciousness. So that's really interesting as well. So again, have a look at that. Have a listen to that as you will. If you want to see a separate interview with Dr. Powell from a few months ago, before this telepathy tapes broke, and it's now getting lots of hits and stuff, there's this interview with Jeffrey Mishlove of New Thinking Aloud. He's done some good interviews over the years. He's been going for, I don't know, 40 years or something, so he's done some great interviews. He interviewed Colonel John Alexander as well, this Jeffrey Mishlove, on this channel. So yeah, that's all there for you to watch as well if you wish. And I think that's probably all I wanted to say at this point, other than thank you very much to all those that have sent links. Oh, in fact, I have missed one thing out as well, which I'm going to add now. Bear with me. So I almost forgot to add in this link, which is I did mention this in the previous video. This is the article that I was putting together. It's taken me quite a long time. You see, the goes back to October, this story really, so time does pass. And this is the guy that claimed to work for the ISA. He won't give me his name. He uses the pseudonym of the Ghost Scientist. Says that he worked in Iraq and Afghanistan, and he discovered this. They went into the desert, and then they found this underground chamber, and they found this being in it, which is sort of an alien or a robot or something. Gives all these details, and again, I decided, it took me ages to write this up because he was all over the place when he was telling the story, so I had to skip backwards and forwards in my notes. So eventually I got it into something coherent, and he contacted me because he said that Richard D. Hall's contact regarding human mutilations was what he was saying was true, and he claimed to have knowledge of that. Doesn't really give a lot extra in this, what he sent to me. The overall conclusion is I don't really know what to think of this guy, but could be some truth here, but I think a lot of it is gaps that he's filled in. He's had some experiences, and then he's filled in a lot of gaps from stuff that he's read on the internet. But you can read what he says and what he told me. It's there for the record. So I wanted to post it because I did invest quite a bit of time in putting this together over several weeks. I think what he says about Travis Walton is just a bit daft really, but you can read that if you want. So the link is there for you. Stuff will be on Check the Evidence as ever. Thank you again to those that have sent links, sent emails. Always good to hear from you. And don't worry about this basket here. I was just testing my website thing here. So yeah, I wish you well in 2025. I think it's going to be an interesting year with the Trump administration coming in and stuff. I mean, I assume the Trump administration should have taken office by now, but I've heard literally nothing about it, which surprises me. He did make a statement about the drones, which I think this Jesse Michaels, that was in a video that Jesse Michaels has also done a video about the drones. I forget which one it is. I don't think I've linked it here. Trump said that the military knows where the drones are taking off from and stuff. So it's going to be an interesting year with Trump, whatever you think of him. I think it's going to be quite interesting. So again, I'll leave you with all of that. I'll get this uploaded, and I wish you all the best for 2025. Thanks as ever for your support and your interest. Really appreciate it, and do take care.